Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today's video will be all about editorial calendars and why they are an essential component of any content marketing strategy. The reason why I wanted to talk through the editorial calendar template that I use and share it with you guys is because when I showed it in the Day in the Life of a Digital Marketing Manager video, you asked me to share the template or share if it is publicly available anywhere, and it wasn't available at the time, but I decided to talk you through it, explain how I use it, how I customize it whenever I need to, and also to share a downloadable format for you guys so that you can customize it for your own needs and you can use it for the accounts you take care of or your own business. First thing first, what's an editorial calendar? An editorial calendar is a schedule of content that is to be produced and delivered to your prospects through different channels such as your blog, your website, your social media channels, etc. And the reason why an editorial calendar is such a key component of any content marketing strategy is because a lot of companies actually struggle with the consistency of their content. That is really the worst thing that you can do with your content, because if you start producing good content and if you're consistent for a while and if you start building the audience, your audience is going to expect you to create more content and also will expect a consistency from you, because once they check in next week for your content, they want to see that there is a new content up on your website. So in order to succeed with your content marketing efforts, an editorial calendar is very key. It kind of also keeps you accountable for the content that you plan to produce, and also to make sure that you don't miss your deadlines, because it is also a format where you can track your deadlines, track the statuses, and also come up with new content ideas too. An editorial calendar really helps me to organize my content production process and also to manage it with any external members that I am working with, such as a content writer. It helps to keep everything in one place, and ideally it should be tailored to your own needs so that it's very easy to use and you don't need to make adjustments every time you go into the file and you need to add a new input. But essentially, it really simplifies your content optimization process, the content production process, and also reduces your stress of coming up with new content and keeping up with your deadlines, because that is really key. And finally, if you're able to use the editorial calendar effectively, then you can also improve the ROI from your content marketing. So without further ado, let's skip on to the screen sharing so I can talk you through my editorial calendar template, how I customize it, and how I have prepared it for you to download it and adjust it to your own needs.
So I have the editorial calendar template open in front of me, and as you can see, it is actually through Google Sheets instead of Microsoft Excel, because that is just how I prefer it. I've been using the Google Suite for any type of work that I have had in the past, like 5 years maybe, and I just find it easier, and I just prefer it because it is collaborative and it's just easier for me. So that's how I have it, but you can download it as a regular spreadsheet for Microsoft Excel for your computer. As you see, there are actually 3 tabs that I will take you through, and I want to start with the content ideas because that is just the most basic one, where it is kind of the brainstorming area where you add all of the ideas that you have with your team. How I structured it is really basic actually. In the beginning, I just write the goals, and these are sample roles that I've provided here. They may or may not be applicable for you, so just adjust it however is correct for your own business. So currently I added 5 sample goals, and these are actually applicable to most businesses, but here we go. So first one, driving traffic to the corporate site. Second one, targeting prospect clients for account managers or sales managers, however you call them on your team. Raising awareness of the solutions or products that you're offering. Providing brand content for account managers, or again, sales managers or marketing managers to share with their own network. And the 5th one is creating content on behalf of account managers to support thought leadership. So these are all goals that I have worked for in the past, and many more on top of these, but these are the sample ones that I wanted to provide for you in case you need some inspiration to begin with. And then what I wrote here is Q3 2019, and you can again change this however you need to. I just updated this because we're currently in the Q3 of this year. And again, this is super basic, and I just wrote an example right here. The content idea. So for example, how to create an editorial calendar, which is the content idea for the video that I'm making right now. And then as a description, what I wrote here is, this is a topic suggested and asked for by my YouTube audience. People have requested a downloadable format of the editorial calendar they saw in the day in the life video. And then for this one, I don't have example posts, but you could have some. You could have already read a few articles that have inspired you for this content idea. So you can insert the links for those example posts right here. And whenever the content writer is actually producing the content, they will be able to go and check those links to get inspiration for the new content that they're producing for your own business. And also, if you have any notes, you can also add them in the description here. That's how I use it. If you don't prefer to, you don't have to. But what I wrote here is, find out how to provide a downloadable asset, which I did. And I created a landing page that will go along with this video. So you can just continue adding more ideas, and how I like to work on this with my team is to have a bunch of ideas, whether they are silly or not, just providing a lot of ideas. And then when it's time to actually finalize and choose from the ideas that are provided, it is much easier if you have just a long list of ideas that make sense. And also providing the links always helped me, because it kind of shows me what I wanted to do with that content, because after some time passes, you may forget what you thought initially. So those notes and links always help me to remember what I thought in the first place. In the C column, you'll see that there is the month, and I have a drop-down menu right here so that you can just select the month, which is always very convenient, in my opinion, to have drop-down menus. So if you already have a projection of which month you want this content to go live on, you can just choose it from here. And then if you have multiple team members that are creating ideas, that are adding ideas to this content ideas sheet, then you can just add the name of the person in column D. And then if that content is done, you can just say yes, no, insert a check mark, or you don't even have to fill column E. It's just a preference. I have it right here, but sometimes I notice that we actually don't fill it either. Content ideas tab is done. This is all I wanted to share with regards to this one. I will now skip to the editorial calendar one. While I'm showing that, I will also show this data validation sheet tab as well. And this is a tab that I usually keep hidden. And how you can do that is, once you double click, right click on the tab, then you can say hide sheet, because after you have this tab all settled and finalized, you don't really have to have it open. And I tend to have a lot of tabs right here after a while, so I just prefer simplicity, and I just hide that from my site. So that's, again, how I prefer it. It depends on how you want to use it, but I will explain what this is all about once I'm going through the editorial calendar. So let's skip on to that one. And one thing that I want to mention regarding the editorial calendar template, or the content ideas template as well, is that you can change, add, remove any of the columns or rows that you wish or don't wish to use. So if this isn't applicable for you, if you don't want to enter published dates, then you don't have to really. Or if you don't have the content tag, which I will explain what it means in a second. If you don't have this, then you don't have to use it. Nothing on this page is obligatory. So just keep that in mind, and let's start going through it. So what you'll see in most of the columns is that there is a little downward pointing arrow, and that just means that those are drop-down menus. So let me see if I can move my video, and I can't. So let's just click on this one so we can see it. And sorry about this video that I have over here that I can't move it, but I'll just try to show you with my face right here. So once you click select, you will see a drop-down menu right here. And regarding the status, what you'll see is not started, assigned, in progress, internal review. There's writer review and a few more down here, which unfortunately you're not able to see right now. But let's go to the data validation tab so that I can show you all of the statuses that are inserted there. So let's skip on to this one. And we were looking at the status column. So you'll see that I have all of these statuses that are inserted in that drop-down menu, and you can just select it from the menu basically to update your team members or just update your own self as well. You don't have to have team members. It just keeps you on track with your production process. So you see that you can mark your content with any of these statuses, and if you have more statuses for your work, then you can add them, and you just need to update the data validation on the editorial calendar page. And how you do it is, just want to show you that quickly as well. So if you again right click on the select cell, you will see data validation right here. And you'll see that the criteria is selected to be list from a range, and then you come over here. The tab that is correct is already selected right here. But if you happen to add new statuses after the cell E11, then you just update this to, for example, E13 to cover all of those statuses. So that's how you update the data validation. But right now, I already have a lot of the statuses there. If you find those enough, then you can just keep using it as is. Alright, so I say cancel, and I am moving to column B, which just shows the month from, again, the drop-down menu. It is super simple. It just, again, keeps you on track with the number of content and the content formats that you're planning to create for the selected month. And then moving to column D is, and let's open this because I just noticed that there is a hidden column right there. Okay, so what I hid there was the planned publish date and then the actual publish date. So let's update this to say actual publish date, just for the sake of this video. So sometimes you plan for the January 15th, for example, and then the actual publish date is the same, but sometimes it's not. And for example, this one has that kind of an example. So this one was planned to be live on 12th of March, and it went live earlier on the 26th of February. So you can always update your dates. Initially, when you're planning out things, you will only have the planned publish date, but then once things go differently, you can just update the actual publish date right here, so that if another person after yourself is reviewing reviewing your calendar, they can actually see the actual date that the content went live. I think those are pretty much straightforward to plan out. And let's skip on to column E, which is the format of the content. So again, you'll see a select option right here, and with a drop-down menu that has a lot of different content formats that I've entered and I've used in the past. Again, if you create different types of content, different formats of content, then you can add more. You can remove any that you don't create. And I've selected some of these over here to just show some samples. And what I did was also conditional formatting, because I really like to use color codes to differentiate different cells from each other. So I have actually done conditional formatting, which I will show very simply. And I've assigned different colors for different content formats, just to make it easier for me to see that visually and for me to differentiate the cells. If you don't like that, you can remove all the conditional formatting, or you can add different colors to those that I haven't added previously as well, such as the gated slide share, for example, which currently does not have a color code, but you can add that through adding another rule right here. Let's skip on to the data validation so that I can show you the full list of the content formats that I have, and it is all of these things. And what I wrote here is add more if you create other formats, or remove any that you find unnecessary for your own business. So basically what the data validation sheet is all about is where the editorial calendar page takes the formulas from. All of the drop-down menus are created from the list that I've created on the data validation sheet. And if you're not very familiar with how Google Sheets or how Microsoft Excel works, or the formulas work, then you might be unfamiliar with how data validation works. And I don't want to go into detail of how these formulas work, but I just want to share with you the logic behind those drop-down menus. Let's skip on to the column F, which is the content title. I did not write an example right here, but again, let's take this current video that you're watching right now as an example. The video title would be how to create an editorial calendar or something along that line. And you can just write your content title idea right here, and then insert the author's name if it is going to be ghostwritten, and if you're going to have another author name, then write that author's name right here. Moving to the next one, which is the category. Again, you'll see a drop-down menu, which I provided, and right now, again, these categories are all examples that I wrote so that I could provide a sampler for you. And I just wrote different categories under marketing, like marketing trends, social media marketing, business tips, content strategy, etc. So if we are taking this current video as our example, I would select content strategy. Let's also maybe insert something over here, how to create an editorial calendar for an effective content strategy. All right, so we are actually creating, and the author would be Elif, myself. And under content peg, I find a lot of people are confused by this one, specifically because not all businesses work with this mindset or this structure. And what content peg is with the businesses that I work with, we have different campaign themes that we work on a quarterly basis. So for example, for the Q3 of 2019, I might choose content strategy as my content theme of that quarter, and I might be working towards that and creating different content formats to promote a main asset that is related to my campaign theme. What I wrote here is just insert the CTA, the call to action that you will have for this content piece. Will you drive the download to an ebook or watch a video, for example? If you work with campaigns and have awareness, consideration, and decision assets, then you use the drop down to tie the content piece to the main campaign item, which is just what I explained. So if you have a downloadable asset about a content strategy and you have this as your main campaign item, then just choose that from the drop-down list right here. So it has main campaign asset, consideration, awareness, and decisions. And if you don't work with campaigns, then it's again completely fine. I left 2 examples right here. You can write what the goal of that content asset is. So if it is not directly attached to main asset, but will have CTA, and you don't have that, and you don't know what the CTA is yet, you can just write it like this. Or if you know that the CTA will be to read other business tips blog posts, then you can write that here. So whatever your goal for that content asset is, just insert that as text or select it from the drop down if that applies for your campaign strategy. Column J is for inserting the URLs. This one I use to add the link of the actual published content, and this one I use to insert the link for the content after it's actually published. So if it was a blog post or if it was a video, and if it's already done and published in live, then I just take that link and put it right here so that this sheet is always kept up to date, and I can find all of the information in just one place very easily. And then this one we can actually delete because I have 2 of them. A final column to insert any notes that might be helpful for you right now or in the future after the asset is published. If you want to write anything about the content platform that you use, it could just simply be anything. You can write down your notes here for your own reminder in the future or for other team members. And I believe that's all that I want to go through regarding the editorial calendar template. There is another one that I use, which is in a calendar format, so that when I look at a glance, I can just see on which day of which week we are publishing which content. So that's another format that I use, but it just completely depends on your preference if you want to also have that format on top of this, or this could also be sufficient. Because you can still track your deadlines right here as well. So this is all ready and set for you to use, and you can just simply download it through the link below. And if you need to adjust anything, again, it is just a simple spreadsheet format, so you can do whatever you want with the template. If you want to add any new formats, do so. If you want to delete anything, you can do so. But essentially, the idea is to just keep everything in one place, to make it easy for you to use, and to have all of the information that can keep you accountable with your content, strategy, and your deadlines.
So that is all I wanted to share about the editorial calendar. I hope you found it useful. And don't forget that you can download your own free copy using the link in the description box below. And let me know if you downloaded your own copy and how you adjusted. That's all for today. I hope you found the information valuable and useful, and see you in the next video. Take care.